You like the contrast that helps you to come to your considerations about what you want? Well, if contrast isn't too dramatic, if it's softer, I sort of know what I don't want, so I sort of know what I do want, then contrast is all right with you. But when you allow contrast to be really dramatic, where you really know what you don't want, then that helps you to really know what you do want, doesn't it? And doesn't it work both ways? In other words, when you really know what you do want, isn't it logical that you would really know what you don't want? We want you to hold that thought as we are moving through this day, because often we speak about how the contrast and knowing what you don't want helps you to parlay those rockets of desire forward, and that through that process you are creating a vibrational reality that is made up of all of the best that you have sifted through life. But as you become deliberate creators, and you have this escrow, this legacy, this stash, you might say, of wonderful creation, and often as you have allowed yourself to be a vibrational match to it, so you are living it fully, still, always, every subject is two subjects, isn't it? What is wanted and lack of what is wanted. So we don't want to give you the impression that it is this lackful life that is the basis of your creation. We want you to understand the wanted and the not wanted and the way they play off of one another in order to help you focus. Jerry and Esther walked across the street for dinner last night. And as they were coming back, walking through the crosswalk, they had the big happy walk signal. And they had waited for it, and there it is, and they are walking. And then something very unexpected happened. A car who was turning left from the other way came right in front of them. Now, it must be allowed because he had a green light and so did they. And Esther had considered sort of skipping a bit. She was just feeling all full of herself and held back from leaping into his very fast motion forward. And as this very fast car brushed past them, Jerry and Esther stood in the middle of the street, sort of spinning in appreciation for life, because never have they come so close to being run over by something so big moving so fast. Esther enjoys that great big bus they move around in. If anybody's going to get run over, it isn't her. And then Esther said, "Whoa, that was too close. What's up with that?" And then Jerry reminded Esther that you don't come close to death. You either go or you don't. In other words, that if you're a vibrational match to it, off you go. If you're not, you don't. And there aren't close calls in the sense that you think there are close calls. So the emotion that they felt was not an emotion of disaster or fear or disempowerment. The emotion that they felt was one of elation about life. And Esther said to Jerry, "Guess it's not our time to go first." And then she said, "But we are planning to go together. Maybe we're practicing." And then both of them just felt a renewed appreciation of remaining physically focused in this body. And we want you to realize that this contrast is there always for you to help you to identify what you are wanting. We don't want you to live something and then worry about what it means. We want you to understand that everything that you are living is about helping you to focus into who you really are. And in order to understand that, you've got to understand who you really are. You are source energy first and foremost. You were source energy before you came into this physical body. And even though you are in this physical body, the larger part of you still remains as non-physical source energy. That's where man gets the idea of source or soul. So while you are here in this physical body, you are a vibrational being still. And when you are non-physically focused, which you are eternally are, you are non-physical energy. And those non-physical aspects of you are playing off of one another at all times. And as all vibrations generate something sensual that you can hear. In other words, Jerry was talking about the pedals on the piano and how they affect the reverberation or vibration in the strings of the piano. Everything that you know in your physical experience is an interpretation of a vibration and the way it plays out. And so the biggest symphony that's going on in your experience all day, every day, is the symphony of your emotions, which are the sensual, tactile reverberations that are made apparent to you because of the vibrational relationship between who you really are as a vibrating source energy being and who you're being in this moment as a vibrating, attracting being. In other words, who you really are as source is one who knows without any question your worthiness, your value. Sometimes in your physical form, you don't know that. You're embarrassed, you feel guilty, you're ashamed, you're disappointed. And when you're focused upon aspects of yourself which cause you to feel those emotions called shame or disappointment or guilt, that symphony in D minor, that symphony is your guidance system letting you know the relationship between what you're doing right now with that thought and what the source energy within you is doing with that thought. Same subject, different vantage points about that subject. Source knows your value. In that moment you don't. And the erupting emotional indicator is one of negative emotion. On the other hand, if you're all full of yourself, if you're frisky, if you're just pleased as you can be, if you're adoring yourself or even any other, but if you are feeling proud of yourself, if you're feeling enlivened, if you're feeling alive, if you're feeling glad to be alive, if you're feeling eager, if you're feeling proud of something you've accomplished or eager about something that's coming, those good feelings, emotions, that symphony that's playing within you is, again, an indicator of the vibrational frequencies of your two vibrational vantage points. But now you are so in sync with the vibration of your source that there is no resistance to the vibration. There is no negative emotion. There is positive emotion. So we want you to understand that your emotions are letting you know how you're focused. Your emotions are not your indication of your value or your worthiness, because your value and worthiness has never been in question except by you. Your value and your worthiness is. And when you tune yourself to the frequency of it, you will feel it completely. You will not ever, not any of you, ever be able to look at something in a way that the source within you doesn't look at it and ever feel good. And every negative emotion you feel is exactly that. When you find what you consider to be your most wretched of rascals in your environment, and you hold hatred in your heart or even fear in your heart about what they might mean to you, as you focus upon them in your fear, which usually turns to revenge or anger, because fear feels so bad to you that you find a way of feeling revenge soon enough. It feels slightly better, but in either case, it feels awful. As you hold anyone, no matter how much your society has decided that they deserve to be held in contempt or disdain or hatred, when you do it every single time, you separate yourself from the frequency of who you really are, and the negative emotion that you feel is your indicator of that. So, we have a new analogy. Some of you have been listening to us, so you're aware of it. But it's the best analogy that we've found so far to help you to understand these two vibrational aspects of you. We want you to know that as life causes you to know what you don't want and to ask more clearly for what you do want, these requests precede you vibrationally. In the same way that you say, well, I can't ask for something and have it manifest instantaneously. We want to say to you, you can ask for something and it does vibrationally manifest instantaneously, because in the moment that you ask, your request reverberates vibrationally and is received by the source within you and becomes a vibrational reality. Sometimes when we speak of this vibrational reality, our physical friends say, can I spend it? Can I sleep with it? Can I move into it? Can I drive it? This vibrational reality is not as pleasing to me, Abraham, as you think it should be. And we want you to understand that we do think it should be, because the vibrational reality precedes every manifestational reality. Everything that you see in your physical environment, in your body, everything that you see in the world around you, even the world around you, the Earth spinning in its orbit in perfect proximity to other planets, all of that was a vibrational reality first. So when we talk about the Earth coming from idea into manifestation, you say, yeah, well, that's about how long it's taking for my manifestations to come about too. And we say, but it's not like that, because you are out here on the leading edge. You are a manifestation out here in this leading edge time-space reality, and the thoughts that you project from here are meant to be immediately manifested by you. In other words, when life gives you the wherewithal to come to a conclusion of something that you prefer, this same life experience has the wherewithal to give you the full-blown, in every tactile detail, manifestation of it. In other words, nothing that you ask for could ever be denied while you're here in this physical experience. However, you have to find a way of matching the frequency of your desire. So the way we are explaining this to you is that when this rocket and another and another and another, as you don't have enough money and you ask for it and ask for it and ask for it, there is a veritable fortune that is amassed for you vibrationally, which you can lay claim to in the moment that you become a vibrational frequency, a chronic habitual frequency to what you've put over here. Now, what this vibration is, you got to understand, it's the vibration of who you were before you were born, but it's also the requests that you've asked for ever since. That's what the evolution of all species is about. So when you ask, the non-physical part of you receives the request, understands it completely because you emanated it vibrationally, and your vibrational counterpart receives it, includes it, becomes it, and holds it, and offers the vibration of it forevermore, changing as you add new amendments to it, eternally evolving. And law of attraction then is responding to this vibrational aspect of you. Now, this all sounds very calm. Some of you are even yawning, but we want to say to you, don't underestimate this, because this is the vortex of creation. In other words, this is where who you really are is. You think you're creating a house. You're creating the new and improved version of you in the house. You think you're creating a lover. What you're creating is you. You are the creator, but you are also the creation. You are the creator of the vibrational essence of that which you in your physical body will become. Or can become. It's possible that life could cause you to create a magnificent vortex of creation, and it's possible that you could hold yourself in chronic vibrational resistance to most of the wonderful stuff that life has caused you to create. And it's possible you won't be in full accord with it until you croak. When you croak, we like to be as disrespectful of death as we can, since there isn't any. When you have your car running over you experience, and you reemerge into non-physical, you will withdraw your attention from this time-space reality. Therefore, all resistant thought will be left behind, and you will reemerge into the fullness of who you are. And at that time, you'll be the full receiver of all that you have become. It is an exhilarating experience to catch up with you. What this gathering is about is helping you to realize you don't have to croak to catch up. You can catch up incrementally. We want to show you how to get into the vortex. We want you to know the difference between whether you're standing over here beating the drum of the lack of what you want, or whether you have talked yourself into the vibrational vicinity of this fast-moving vortex that will bring you in if you get anywhere near it. When you want something that you don't have, it already exists, vibrationally speaking, here in your vortex of creation. And law of attraction, a powerful law that you have not yet been able to define in anything that even comes close to its precision and fairness and power, is spinning powerfully. And hear this, all cooperative components to the creation of you are being assembled.